estimation.
Yep.
So,
all right. So let's move along to O-line. Not fine. This thing is a circus right now, this offensive line. Let me lead in with this. What do we know right now about the offensive line? Like I feel like we only know two things as far as week one goes. One, barring injury, Ariante Ursary is going to be the starting left tackle for this team. And two, Keelan Rutledge is going to play. I don't know where yet, but he will play. Outside of that, name anybody else, and I can give you a scenario where they're not starting in week one. Anybody else, including Ed Ingram, who's getting $13 million a year. I mean, if they're not, if there's a configuration where they're comfortable and it involves Keelan Rutledge playing guard and Wyatt Teller's playing better than Ed Ingram, then I think Wyatt Teller's going to play. Like I truly feel like these are competitive situations right now, and you're protecting precious cargo in the backfield there, man. So, that's I think that's the only two things we know, unless you guys know something I don't.
I mean, I understand that we are going to have some critique of Ed Ingram. Have they had anyone else come out with the ones at right guard besides Ed Ingram? Like, it feels like he has been one of the ones that has been more consistent there.
protect the team, Reggie. Protect the team.
I asked a question, but fair enough.
It would seem that they still have a supreme amount of confidence in Ed Ingram to be their starting right guard.
Yeah, I would say I actually think there's probably 4 out of 5 spots set in stone, but I'm not sitting here telling you that I feel awesome about all of them. I think it's going to be Ursary. I think it's going to be Teller. I think it's going to be Rutledge. It's going to be Ingram. And then right tackle, I think we don't know yet. Now, I do wonder if, much like when I asked D'Amico today about versatility, he basically confirmed my Andrews theory without confirming my Andrews theory, where it's harder to make the roster if you're not versatile the further back you get. I do wonder if Trent Brown's versatility might actually make him less likely to start, because I think there's a chance that he is LT2. And I think in that instance, given the fact that you have questions about if Trent Brown can play 17 games, even if he is your better right tackle, assuming there's not a massive drop-off, perhaps you start Braden Smith and just have Trent Brown on standby. I think that's something that they're trying to figure out. And then Evan Brown and Jared Patterson, maybe both of them make it, but the evaluation in those two guys, I think, is kind of increased. And they're trying to figure out and decide between those two guys. But there are question marks. Ed Ingram has not been good in training camp. And Ariante Ursary has struggled. I'm actually looking forward to seeing what he looks like tomorrow when he does not have to block Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter. Might have to sprinkle in some Max Crosby, but I do want to see what he looks like when he's not going against these two guys.
If you're ready to watch the Texans this fall, but you're not sure exactly where you're sitting just yet, SeatGeek can take care of you. The #1 sports ticketing app is here for you. Texans football, man. Look at all these different options. Maybe you want to start with the two-step of the Bills and Bengals coming to town with MVP caliber quarterbacks. Maybe later in the year you want to go see the Texans play the Chargers, or you want to go watch them play the Commanders, or maybe, just maybe, you're thinking Christmas Eve would be huge. Let's go watch them play the Eagles in Philadelphia. They got everything for you at SeatGeek, even the game that I really want to go watch on the road. That's the Green Bay Packers. Look at all these great seats at the legendary Mecca that is Lambeau Field. SeatGeek has it all. Over 70,000 events, plays, and music shows, and just about any sport you can think of. And right now, Collective 10 is going to get you 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. It's 10% off any tickets with the promo code Collective 10. Just make sure you click the link in the description, download the app, have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek, for 10% off when you use the code Collective 10.
You got to
Yeah.
I would also say too, like, part of my worry about the offensive line is just they have not really moved anybody in the ground game. Like, it doesn't matter who's in there. Evan Brown, Patterson, Rutledge, Ingram, Teller, Ursary, Brown, Smith, like Blake Fisher, like, they're not really moving anybody. And I get it. It's a great defense, and this is at some point, like, the snap count, they don't. Snap the football, fire off the ball, move them out of the way, and open some things up for David Montgomery and Woody Marks. Like, Montgomery shouldn't have to get skinny in like a lane this big to go and run for 5 yards and then immediately have Azeez Al-Shire or Henry To'oTo'o there to smack him. Like, Woody Marks shouldn't have to do some sort of incredible juke play to go out there and get 4 yards. Like, I'm not asking for them to be the, the Bills from last year where James Cook led the league in rushing, but I thought it looked better. And I was tempering my worry about the run game and having it. But man, if they fail a couple of tests this week running the football, I'm going to be wondering if we're back at square one.
Why would you not wonder that to begin with? Like, I mean, like, what do you expect? Like, what do you expect?
Well, I expected that Wyatt Teller would be a better football player than Laken Tomlinson. I expected Ursary to be better than his rookie version. I expected Braden Smith or Trent Brown to be better than Trent Brown coming off of an injury. I expected Ed Ingram to be a little bit better and continue his success as a run blocker after failing as a pass blocker last year. And I thought Rutledge would make a big difference. Like, things were drastically different on the offensive line than what failed last year. I thought Montgomery would help, but he can't run when there's no holes.
Yeah, Rutledge is probably the thing that people feel best about right now on the offensive line. Like, which is kind of crazy to think. Like, if they hadn't drafted him, what would we be saying? How many offensive linemen do you guys have making it right now? Have you kind of mocked that up to figure out how many offensive linemen you got making the team?
I think 10. Cody thinks 9.
Yeah, I've got 10. I've got 10 on my mock 53 that I did today.
I just think it's 9 because we've at least seen the idea that they'd be comfortable with Trent Brown playing left tackle. So it's like, if that's the case, there's your swing tackle. You keep somebody on the practice squad that, if one of the tackles gets hurt, he gets a job. I don't believe that would be Blake Fisher. I'm sure somebody somewhere on a 53-man roster would give him some sort of job. So I don't think it's him. If you only keep 3 tackles, but they've got a variety of inside guys that it feels like can play a bunch of different positions, and they may need those guys with Ed Ingram's slow start to camp, injury history, Wyatt Teller's injury history, and the necessity that you may need to play Rutledge at a guard spot. Well, then you need some backup center options.
It also just feels real risky to go with 3 tackles into the season when you have 2 of them that have like very recent injury history. Like, I hear what you're saying, and you're not wrong in any way, shape, or form. This is where I go, I have a little bit of trepidation just going in with these are 3, and we will be able to make it through a majority of the season with these dudes handling that responsibility.
What do you guys make of them? Am I about to do a protect the team thing by talking about left and right with certain guys or whatever?
Yeah, go for it, Johnny.
Popovich is on record talking about the Trent Brown thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What do you guys make of Trent Brown doing stuff over on the left-hand side?
I think he's better than Blake Fisher, and I think that they know he's better than Blake Fisher, and I think they have Braden Smith, who they feel good about, where bare minimum there's not much of a drop-off. So I think they're preparing all possibilities. And I think I played if they had to play a game tomorrow game with Stutz, and I kind of carried this over. I think if they had to play a game tomorrow and Ariante Ursary were not playing, I think Trent Brown would start at left tackle and Braden Smith would start at right tackle. I think if they had to play a game and Keelan Rutledge couldn't play, I think there's a chance that maybe Jake Andrews, if he's on the practice squad, plays center. So I think there's a lot of scenarios that they're kind of going through. They've shown that they're able to shuffle, but I think first of all, Trent Brown's in better shape, which is something that Cole Popovich kind of emphasized. So they feel comfortable probably asking him to do a little bit more and be able to move his feet like a left tackle is required to move his feet. So that's really what I would say, is that they're probably just open to it. There have been some Ariante Ursary struggles, but I don't think it's anything to where they're like looking at Trent Brown as LT1 or anything like that. That'd be crazy.
That's one that doesn't feel competitive to me. The only one that doesn't feel competitive to me.
Yeah, I just think too, like, you're not sneaking some of these interior guys, and I mentioned it with Fisher too, but like, you're not sneaking some of these like, if Jared Patterson gets cut, he's good enough to be on a 53-man roster somewhere in the National Football League. I'd say the same thing about Evan Brown. Now, Andrews, he probably needs to stick around the building if they want him and be on the practice squad as one of your 6 veterans and
Yep.
And in a pinch, you have him on the practice squad to come up and play center, but he can't do anything but play center for you. Whereas, like, hey, if I need to move Keelan Rutledge to a guard spot because Wyatt Teller Ed Ingram's not good or got hurt, Evan Brown can play center, Jared Patterson can play center, and when they're not, they're key backups for Brown for Ingram and for Teller, while Rutledge is the center.
Yep. All right, boys. So we'll look at the injury.